And away from kind of matters on the pitch, the FA Trophy draw was on Monday. Where were you when the draw was made? And thoughts on Dagenham away? I suppose it's probably one of the tougher ties we could have got on paper.
Well, I was in the house trying to get the app on my phone, and I couldn't get it on because of the Wi-Fi was down, so I ended up sitting in the car outside my house, the engine running because it was freezing. I think it's a really good draw for us. I think when you get, I said to you on Saturday after the game, I think when you get to this stage of a national competition, ideally you just want to be at home. That didn't happen. We got drawn away from home against a team in the top 7 in the league above, that are notoriously at the top end of that league year after year. Obviously full-time quality manager, and doing really well. We watched them earlier in the season against Salford in the FA Cup, where they lost 1-0, but it was the best side by a mile. So obviously once you've seen them on TV, because they've been on TV, you sort of come away from them, and then when you draw them again you start to get excited about the fixtures and stuff that they've got coming up. And if I'm totally honest, I didn't realise they were doing quite as well they were in terms of the form. Obviously the Gaffer's just won a manager of the month for December as well, which tells you and backs up what it is they've been doing. So I think it's a really exciting draw. I think for the first time for us, obviously, since we've come into the club, and obviously for this season for the football club, is that the pressure's going to be on the opposition. They're going to be the favourites. Not very often that'll happen. We're spending more at our level of football, especially. So zero pressure on us, apart from ourselves in wanting to go as far as we can. What's worked out really well is obviously Kiddie, with the FA Cup game and our game being cancelled. I think they played Chesterfield that day. So it gives us an opportunity to go and watch it live and see what they're about only a week before we actually play them, maybe even a couple of weeks before we play them, which works really well. So we've got ample enough time to do some homework on them, but not sort of looking too far ahead and taking our eye off the ball with what our next couple of games, obviously Boston on Saturday and Alfreton a week after. So I think I'm really excited by the tie. I think any tie against one of the big guns or one of the higher player sides in the league above, as I said, puts the pressure on their position. But from our point of view, it just presents an opportunity to go as far as we can.
And last one, you mentioned focus on next game. Boston's next game, obviously a side who are on the back of a defeat at Morpeth last weekend in the trophy, but a side who, like ourselves, are going for a playoff place in the National League North. Yeah,
and a team that's probably underachieving at this moment in time. My statement at the beginning of the season was that I said anybody who finishes above Boston will win the league. Well, at this moment in time, there's 6 or 7. But I think with the recruitment, I thought the job that Craig Elliott had done the previous 2 or 3 years was outstanding. Always been impressed with them as a side, really impressed with the recruitment in the summer. But as we found out at Chester, it doesn't always work like that. But they're still in a good position. You know, I know Craig's left the job recently. I find quite hard to wrap your head around when you're a manager yourself. But they made that decision, and they'll be looking for for sort of that honeymoon period to kick in at some point where they can get on a bit of a run. But we know players in the camp down there, they've got some absolute quality, like Shane Byrne, Danny Elliott, Jake Wright, Jordan Preston, Joe Leasley. It's just a squad full of quality from this level of football. So we'll do as much work as we can on them in terms of analysing and scouting reports and stuff. Watched the game against Morpeth on Saturday, which I didn't think was a true reflection because of the surface, and obviously Morpeth having the advantage of that. It wasn't the Boston that you expected to see play in the shape that they played, but it's a massive game for us in a lot of ways. It's a 6-pointer in the sense of we know if we win we can leapfrog them, and if they win they pull away from us a little bit, and open that gap up to the playoffs again. So from our point of view, it's a case, and as I said before, an opportunity of pulling ourselves a bit close to the playoffs against a side, and then the week after a couple of sides that are in and around the playoffs.